Welcome to tonight's presentation. It's another creation by Ruffin 2 Productions. Here at NBF USA, we honor a new legend every episode. Long live real art.
Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. Woo-wee, Mr. Wiggles in the house. Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggles, Mr. Wiggle, got to do your thing. Mr. Wiggle, he's funky, funky, y'all. He's hoba-dabba trippin'. Hoba-dabba trippin', y'all. Got that old rock. Woo-wee. Mr. Wiggle. Let me hear y'all say, now go, Wiggles. Come on now. Say it again, y'all. What y'all say? Tell them again, y'all. Go, Wiggles. Come on. Do it again now. Go, Wiggles. Mr. Wiggles one more time. And then Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle on down. So Mr. Wiggle. Mr. Wiggle on down. And Mr. Wiggle, do your thing again. Now tell me now that where y'all from? That where y'all from, huh? Where y'all from? Town crew, the valley crew, that uptown crew.
So first of all, I want to welcome you guys here, man. This is big. You guys were really the first band, along with Ayre Rayde, I ever saw in my life. So believe when I tell you, this is big for me, right? So for the audience, I want them to know we have Maurice Teel's here and Elwood Jones. You guys, these are the founders, pretty much, of Ovation, period. So we have the essence of the group right here, okay? So, I want to just take this organic. The question, first of all, is, Maurice, who are you, man? Give us your origin. Where are you from?
Well, I was born in New Haven, Connecticut. And when I was a little youngin', my mom decided to get us out of Connecticut. Now, it was just me. My brother wasn't born yet. Then we moved to New York for a little while, Queens. Then my brother was born. Some chaos happened with my mother's husband, my brother's father. And then we moved to Alexandria, where my grandmother, a lot of my family members was there. And we moved to a house that was right down the street from my grandmother, across the street from the Boys and Girls Club, till my mother found a rat in the kitchen.
Right.
And then we moved to Cameron Valley.
Okay.
Now, when we got to Cameron Valley, the houses looked kind of weird. I didn't really like it, but what can I do, So I'm meeting brothers around in the Cameron Valley area. One day I went down to the ballpark where a lot of kids was hanging out. It was a band playing there. Never forget it. Saw a guy named Cleve Ritchie playing the bass. I saw a guy named Nut. I forgot his first name. He was playing the drums. I was so excited about the drummer. I think a guy named Earl was on the guitar. They ain't had no keyboards. But my focus was on the drummer. So I'm standing right behind them, just watching them. I think I was around 9 or 10 years old. I'm watching them heavy. So then I said, I got to know how to do that, learn how to do that. So as soon as they was finished, I went home and I started looking at stuff in my mom's kitchen that I can use to make those sounds. So then I saw a sewing machine box and I hit it with my foot. I said, that can be the bass drum. So then I looked up in my mom's cabinet, saw a little recipe box to keep all her index recipes. Then that hit that. That was like my snare. So I took them two pieces to my room, and then the window was my cymbal. So I was right next to the window. So I was learning how to keep a beat with those two parts in the window. Well, trying to keep my hand going at the same time and looking at what that drummer was doing and keeping the coordination with my hand keep going. It was hard. It took me about maybe a couple of hours just to make my hand just stay steady by kicking beats. Then I start putting on records, 45s and listening to the drummer. And I start teaching myself how to play the drums.
That that that's
Yeah,
that's some drive, man.
yeah. And then my mom didn't even get mad about me taking her stuff. So Christmas time, she bought me some bongos. So I added the bongos to my contraption, and that created a little set, you know. Then I got a job washing dishes down in Old Town when I got a little older, bought me a little cheap drum set, and then I went from there. Started practicing on the drums.
So Teals, and then we got the beginning of what sort of caught your eye. So what kept you going, man? Were there some favorites, young too, favorite drummers that you sort of saw?
I just had so much drive to learn how to play these drums and get good at it. And I just kept, listening to records, Cameo, Parliament, Funkadelic, stuff like that, and just trying to emulate what I was listening to because we had too many videos out. And every chance I get a chance to see a band play, I'll be watching them. So sometimes I'll be out hanging out in Cameron Valley, and I used to hear Elwood and his father be jamming in their living room. So I walk down the street and I just be peeping through the door, watching them. It was a couple other kids out there in front of his door. And Elwood and them didn't mind. They kept the door open while he was playing. And I kept watching them and watching them. Elwood didn't
Time
even
I ever
know me
played in
yet.
a band with a guitar. My father played gigs on Friday and Saturday nights. Sometime on Wednesday, they needed a bass player. So I converted from guitar to bass so that I could get that paper.
Wow,
that's what
that's
that's
so
what
good.
this whole thing was about. That's how I changed. That's how I got on with bass guitar.
And
13 years old, I started making money.
13.
13, yes sir.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now,
And then it just kept moving forward. I just kept practicing and practicing, man.
So
Till I got a little basic concept of playing the drums.
so when you're on that court, I want to come back right there. When you're on that court, what was the genre of music those guys were playing in Cameron Valley on that basketball court?
They was playing funk stuff like, Brick, Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, to Get
Mm-hmm.
On Down, that stuff, Cameo. Cleve was an excellent singer. He was singing, in falsetto mode. And Nut was just he was a left-handed drummer too, I believe.
he was.
But yeah, he was a left-handed drummer. So then I just kept, just emulating all that stuff, man. And I brought it to my brain, try to continue to work and get good at it. And I
So
started
so so I'm
I
sorry,
started
Till. So
learning
so
coordination. Started learning coordination, just to keep a beat. I didn't know nothing about no 3/4, no 6/8, nothing. Everything was 4/4 time.
mm, okay, I follow you. So let me
Hmm.
get back to this. So back to Elwood's house and his father. First of all, who were they? Obviously, in the community to do that and play music at their house and people to sort of hear them playing. So tell me about Elwood and his dad.
Well, Elwood's dad was playing the guitar. Elwood was on the bass,
Mm.
and they was just playing some funky stuff in there. I don't know what it was. I don't remember what it was they was playing, but it was just exciting just to see brothers getting together playing music. And I like, man, I know I want to be a part of something like this one day. So let me just keep practicing, just keep practicing and practicing. And I really don't remember how me and Elwood first met. Elwood, do you remember how we first met?
Well, I don't remember exactly how we first met, but y'all lived on a hill, right?
Yeah, y'all was at the bottom of William Street,
We're
right?
halfway to the bottom, right?
And,
And you was
and
further down.
I was further down. You keep going up William Street.
So
Ron Boone was across the street from you.
I know that. So I remember you must have had a drum set, and I think somebody told me about you. And I remember listening to you, and I was like, "Dang, he funky." Like as a young, I never told you that. I said, "Dang, he
Oh,
funky." But it was like, he a young dude. This is coming up, and it was probably about years later. It was years later because you had played before we got together. You was already playing, and you was
yeah, I
already
remember that.
funky for your age. You was like, I was like, dang man, But I don't know what it was about me. I wasn't giving people props back then. They had to earn it with me. But
Right.
soon as we had a band called Star Child, and we ended that band and started Ovation Band, and because the drummer was lunching that we had with Star Child. He a good friend of mine, but he didn't really want to play drums. He want to fix cars. So I was like, no, I need to find somebody serious. And we saw Mo, and I was like, oh man, that's my man right there. So me and Mo, that's how we got together, man. I was like, shoot, this dude, and me and him, we always had, even to this day, man. If we got in a room right now, we gonna make music. I always had to connect with him from day one, and we still got that. So
What year are we
no
talking
matter
about?
what kind of music, it could be R&B, it could be go-go, it could be jazz, it could be anything. We just lock.
I follow. Oh, well, what year did you guys meet?
You know, uh, officially was 79, Mo, I believe it was. It was the summer of 79.
Right on. Now we got y'all attention, y'all. This what we won't do. I won't take that thing right there into that progressive group, y'all. Alright, so I can talk to the people now. I won't see what the people are doing, y'all. Alright. Now that we got their attention, y'all, take it right there into that progressive groove, alright? Then we just don't break it on down now, wood. Right on, Teel. Oh, get on down. Now, and that wagon train gon' ease its way right on up in here too, y'all. Now, right on with that BF crew, y'all, and that Douglas Road comes the boogie. And that Minnesota Avenue too, y'all. Is they one in yet now? Wow. Now the girl right here, all the way on the right hand side, y'all. In her sandsuit, didn't show look good. What's your name, baby? Right all the way over in the corner now, right up where the PA man at. Can you turn on the spotlight? Turn on the spotlight, y'all. That's what won't see you. Turn on the spotlight. Turn on the spotlight now, so we can put the people on display.
But we started really kicking the thing off in the 80s. And the reason why I remember that, because a good friend of ours, had passed away that year. We played at his party. He had a backyard graduation party. I think he went to Virginia State. He was a great basketball player, Bob McFadden. And we played at his party, and that was in 1980. That's how I remember. We had done a few little small shows, but that was our first. Hey Mo, that was our first show we got paid.
And I don't even remember that. Ain't that weird?
We got
I don't even remember putting no money in my pocket. I don't remember none of that.
Mo, hey Mo, I think they said they was gonna give us 100, and they gave us 75.
Okay.
They gave us $75. That was our first gig. But that joint was inspiring, Mo, because I don't know if you remember, But man, they was, we had them little short speakers, them long joints
Yeah, I
in the
remember those
backyard.
those
And
columns.
it was the columns.
They were columns, right?
Yeah. Sure, Joyce. And the crowd was saying, "Oh, V." I was like, "What y'all say?" Because I couldn't hear what they were saying, over them raggedy speakers we had. And
Right.
so we got hyped off of that, man. That was like kind of got us going, man. We was like, "Oh, we can rock our town like that." Yeah, let's go and do this. So that's when we got serious.
So we're talking Ovation. You guys were Ovation at that
We were
time.
Ovation then, yeah.
So let me go back a little bit and say this. Since we're Ovation at that party, when I've seen him a cut in here. Remember, you mentioned Teel when I first met you. You brought that up. So let's go to that basketball court where you guys formed that name.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
trying to remember, did we do that gig after the basketball court when we came up with
no,
Ovation?
it was before it was we was at the basketball court before that, and the only reason I remember this is because they was calling OV. If it wasn't for that, I would have thought it was after. So when we was at Bob's party, before that, you and I was on the basketball court off of Duke Street, and we trying to figure out, man, we got something right here, man. What should we call it? And I remember saying, we was just going through different names. Do you remember some of the names?
I don't remember none of the names. I really don't.
But what we landed on, I said, man, it's gonna be like, we was dreaming. We was like, man, it's gonna be like a standing ovation. And then he was like, that's it, ovation.
I Mr. Wiggles one more time. And then Mr. Wiggle, Miss Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle, 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 Miss Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle, Miss Wiggle, Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. So Mr. Wiggle.
Ovation band, and that's how it started right there on the. I think that court is right around the corner from where he moved to. He moved out of Cameron Valley. He moved out of the hood, and I stayed in the hood, but he moved up the street on the west side, and it was right around the corner from his house.
So, incorrect in saying that. They say Ovation Ovation really was the root for Alexandria. I mean, they really were the first band.
The first band, period, in go-go of that genre, period, in Virginia.
Yeah.
And so, like, I already knew Elwood because they had a band that we used to go to a church and see. That church with the statue out front.
Yeah, you talking about Star Child before
Star Child. I mean, y'all used to
before the
play
whole go-go.
before the go-go.
Yeah, it's true.
So I knew Elwood right there was playing with that band. And then when Ovation came out, man, it was like, man, they was the rare essence. Not only was there the seed of Virginia, period, but Alexandria, to more or less, because we had a tight community.
Yeah. So the way Ovation started, man, was like we was just like it was me, Maurice Teel, and Ron Boone. And
Give me a year. Give me a year. Give me a year.
Yeah, so this would have been 81. This would have been 81 because the reason I remember it was 81.
It had to be before 81.
Well, we was working out in 80.
Because I saw them in 82. See, I saw them in 82.
So you saw us in 82, but we started messing around in 80, but we didn't get like really start working until like 81.
Okay.
So we came out pretty fast, man. But the whole
you guys actually,
you remember that though, right, Mo?
Yeah, I remember that part. Yeah.
So that was literally a code thing. It was a code. The name of the band actually was code.
I think we was having some old English or some more duck on the basketball court.
We probably was, man.
Right.
We wasn't hoopers. We was musicians.
Now for everybody's learning curve, now take us, right? Because me as a fan, because like I said, I saw you guys were cranking. I was 13 years old, man, so I never forgot it. And the thing is, give me some trials though. In forming Ovation, what were some of the hardships? I know it didn't just come. People think it just happened. It couldn't have just happened. What were the struggles at the beginning putting this band together, man?
Well, I think the struggle was finding the right pieces because we started out, we had some brothers, we was all still in TC Williams, and we had, I think we did had Chap in the beginning. He played the keyboards.
Yeah.
And Wood said we needed a guitar player. And I don't remember how we met this guy named Lenny Paul. So that's like we got to hit the rhythm section came in first. Then we started adding the conga. So I think Wood mentioned Ron Boone can be our conga player. And then I think we got this guy named Buddha, because I remember him playing trumpet at TC.
That's right.
We got him, and then we got Donald playing the sax. And I think we started practicing with them at Lenny Paul's house, right?
Paul's church, yeah.
Yeah. And we ain't had Wiggles there yet, right?
Nah.
So, and then we trying to piece it together. I don't remember the songs we was working on. I think you might have been working on some of Wood's ideas out of his head because I didn't know how to put no music together.
Right.
I didn't know. We was all relying on Wood, so he was considered our MD.
Yeah. Well, back then, though, too, really, to be honest, like Mo and myself was like the more musical, in the group at the beginning. Like literally for me, man, it was like it was like a training ground to help other people get caught up. Because I've been playing, I mean, now I'm 19, 20 years old. They younger than me, but I've been playing since I was 12 years old, like playing pretty much professionally with my father and doing jazz. Like I was out there doing it. And so this was kind of, from a musical standpoint, it was a step back to try to bring dudes up, and that's no disrespect to those guys, but I was hungry. We was hungry for this. We wanted this because we felt like we had some. And we were the only Virginia band, go-go band. We was the only ones, So what was hard? That was one of the hardest things was getting in the early days. Now we're talking early. This is before management and all of that. But in the early days, man, it's just getting people caught up, because our band was really centered around Mo, his drumming, but he also had he had a unique style where he had these what was they, little roller
No,
toms?
it was just a real small tom. It was like an 8-inch tom. And it was real small, but it was funky.
Yeah.
And Wood called it the districts.
Right. I called it districts. So it was so funky, man. So what we did was we actually recorded our practices. This is how we got on. We would record our practices and go to parties. And in Virginia, go-go wasn't hot like that back then. It was mostly a DC, Maryland thing. But we would go to parties and ask them if they could pop the tape in. They popped the tape in. Some people's like, man, what's this? But that party started jumping in. So who is that? That's us. That's Ovation Band. So that's one of the ways we started promoting, just going to regular parties and popping in a cassette tape and just banging it out like that.
Okay. Interesting, man. So the question that's under that is, under our brother, is this: the go-go music. When you learned how to play that, was it hard to teach others to catch that whole energy of what go-go was? So that's the early stages of go-go. How was that?
Well, I think that we were learning off of what we saw. Like we saw Red Essence play. We saw them a lot. Me and Wood used to go to the shows that they had. We be biting off of their stuff, just getting ideas. We wasn't trying to be like them, but we want to be in the same area what they was because we like their jazzy style. They was kind of smooth, and we wanted to be that way too. So, and we were just trying to train the brothers that we had selected, to be, they was like our idols, sort of say. We respected them brothers because they was doing it, and we was trying to. But the trumpet player Buddha and Donald, they really couldn't get it for some reason. They couldn't get it, and Ron Boone was hanging in there for a while till it was tearing his hands up. He couldn't even play the congas no more. And that's when but before that, we had got this guy named Jasper Bass. We called him Wiggles. But his first nickname was District.
We called him District, yeah.
Yeah, we called him District, and he was our Rototom player and played the Congos. I mean, the Rototoms with the cowbell.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then he moved, became our official Congo player because he was got nice. He got nice. He picked up quick. So like Mo was saying, what happened is a lot of the guys who really couldn't keep up, and they were just young musicians too. Right. They started fading, and then we started bringing in, pretty much now what we would call household names.
Copy that.
Rick Hopkins on trumpet, who's, by the way, Weeze's cousin. I think they first cousins. Him and Weeze, they cousins. And he was great up front, man, too. Could talk, real smooth brother, have swag, back then. Kind of remind you of Benny, and could do all the Benny stuff, the screams on the trumpet. So we got him, and then Big Bill, who plays guitar now, but back then he was playing trombone. Remember that? And he knew how to mouth the trombone, but he didn't know where none of the notes was at. So me and him would sit down, and I would play on my bass. Here, this is what I want you to do. And he would say, ba ba ba. What note is that? I said, that's C. Ba 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 ba. I said, that's F. So he learned how to play just by me sitting on the bass. And he got nice. And then we brought in a couple cats from Maryland, who, by the way, you might know. I don't know if you know Lonnie Simmons, but his real name is Alfonso. He was out of not Bladensburg, Parkdale. I think he was out of Parkdale.
How did you meet them? What?
They saw us at the Bladensburg show.
Oh wow!
That's how they heard about us. They came and was like, oh man, y'all crank. Y'all need a sax player. Y'all need a keyboard player. So that's how Lonnie and Larry got in the band.
When you first heard Ovation, what were your thoughts? And then tell us about the band itself and, in general.
So for me, Ovation wasn't one of the first bands I heard, but when I did hear them, it was in the capacity of the Ayre Raydes, the Sugar Bands, the Sugar Deuce Connections. It was those up and coming bands that were making noise outside of the Class bands and the Petworth bands. And these bands were not from around like DC, like they weren't from the inner city. So for some of us who couldn't move around, like older people, they were kind of anomaly to us because all we had was PA tapes of them. So whenever the first band I heard Ovation was actually a PA tape, and it was, like I say, in the capacity of somebody had an Ayre Rayde, and then like, check this out, this band named Ovation, right? So we was like, damn, they crank it as a different sound. Like it was totally different. Like they just had like this dry. I don't know who was mixing them, who PA they was using, but they had figured it out. Like most of the DC bands, like we knew everybody who did the same thing, but for those guys, they had to find their own. You know what I'm saying? And when they did found it, they did pretty good at it because it got our attention. I thought that they were like Ayre Rayde, like they were like up and coming, like they were gonna make some noise like the other bands. And like again, there was not a lot of radio. So when we were looking for more PA tapes from them, right? Like, what's next? And again, at that time, go-go was flourishing as far as like giving access to people from other areas like Virginia and Montgomery County, a spotlight. So a lot of us was just looking for more music from them, right? More PA tapes from like anything else. Like we couldn't go out. Like a lot of us could move around. So all we had was these PA tapes that we would just pass around like trading cards to each other. So if you had a clear ovation, you know what I'm saying, from Lee District or somewhere around whatever they played, it was a classic to us because it was like one of the only tapes we had of them. I think Ovation was a band that didn't, for us, I'm not saying they didn't take off, but for us didn't take off in a sense where it didn't it didn't follow up for us. Like they didn't give us enough music to embrace them into the whole realm of, when you do name these bands, you name Ovation. Like you really have to know your history to even talk about Ovation or Sugar Band or any of these Sugar Deuce Connect, any of these bands. You would have to actually been outside or know somebody who was outside at a particular time to even bring these up. And that's kind of sad because these bands were real good. Like they were really good because they didn't have the influence of Southeast or Uptown. These guys were from VA, right? And they did it the VA way, and it was good. But there was no follow up. That was the only thing that disappointed me as a person like been around it forever. Like, whatever happened to these bands? Like, even um, Shady Groove. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a nice little run, but they didn't follow up. Bands like Ovation were needed for guys like me coming up because all we knew was the big guys, but we could approach the Ovations and the Ayre Raydes and those bands, class bands, because they were around our age range and
Right,
they were
right.
outside like us. So I think for me, those unsung heroes from VA, like Ovation, need to be recognized as part of go-go history because they were part of the DMV before it was DMV.
So that Bladensburg show was landmark, man.
Yeah, we played over there about 2 or 3 times. It's funny. Quick story on that gig. I don't know which one, but my son grew up. My oldest son grew up in Blazeburg. He lived right. You could actually walk out his house and see Blazeburg High School.
Those are the apartments across the street, maybe.
The houses down on the bottom, like on the back
Oh,
side.
I got you.
Yeah, on the back side, he so you probably know where it is. Out the back, not the front of Blazeburg, but the back of
I
it where
know.
those houses are back
I know
there.
it like the back of my hand, Wood.
Yeah, yeah. You probably know him too. You probably know him. But anyway, uh he called me and I missed the call. I called him back later. He said, "Man, I'm over here with these dudes from Blazeburg." And I was telling them that my dad played because they were talking about bands. Say, "Man, y'all remember Ovation Band?" And he said, "My father played an Ovation band." He said, "No, he didn't." Like he said, "Yeah, Wood. That's my father." It was like he was telling me though they believed him, but they was giving him a hard time about it. It was messing with him, and so he called me, but he said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Pops," they said, "Y'all crank that joint." Yeah.
Right, right. And see, that leads me to the next question I have for you guys is, how was the competition? How was the feeling of having to try to live up to
Mm.
the DC Go Go that whole thing? Because that had to be hard on you guys, man. Still getting better, but playing with some pretty big bands like Trouble and them and all that.
Well, I think that the more we progressed and got older, the more better we were getting the knowledge to be able to keep up with them guys. Because me and Wood was coming up with some real nice ideas, our own very ideas, coming from TV shows. And I remember a while back we came up with a song called "Shoot 'Em Out." And I was using the Harlem Globetrotters lick.
Oh
Dun
yeah,
dun
yeah.
dun 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 dun. Then Pluki came up with "Charge." Da 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 da.
Yeah,
We used
yeah,
to start a song off like that, Charge, and then Wood started putting some songs together that was real groovy, using a slide the Family Stone bass line.
yeah,
And we called that Sly Baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So,
Pink Panther. Remember we did the Pink
yeah,
Panther.
the Pink Panther. We used to open the show a lot with that. And these are like old TV shows, and the licks and the concept of the grooves that we coming up, man, it was able to hang with them big boys.
Yeah, yeah.
People was feeling us.
I want to do an OV freeze now. Not yet. OV freeze, OV freeze. What? The OV freeze? Woo-wee. Got that? Hey, Montreal, give me some, man.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, I tell you though, one of the things that was really helpful, man, I didn't realize what we had. Pluki was an amazing rapper. He was probably the first legitimate rapper talk where he had both. Like I don't remember. I'm trying to think of who was like that back then. But remember, like Pluki could literally freestyle rap on point, but then he was also a talker at the same time. Does that make sense what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, and he came up with just hook after hook, man. She's the one, that the one, like just his mind, man. He just was a genius. But some of the stuff that messed us up, man, was we we had a hard time because we trying to keep up, but also, man, the drug epidemic, that was going on, man, and it was taking some of our brothers out, to be honest with you. Slap baby, slap baby, do it, slap baby, slap girl, slap now, do it. Slide, baby, slide, baby, slide, slide, slip in the slide. Slide, baby, slide, baby, slide, baby. We just couldn't hang. Um, so so that was tough, man. That was tough. But if I could say this real quick, Mo, I think one of the things that happened to us back in the day, and me and Mo was talking about this the other day, we could keep up with some of those bands when we was on a good sound system, and that was part of our problem because every band, big band, had their own sound man. So for instance, Re had Mike, I think, guitar player Mike, I think, Trouble had Rio, Air Rayde had, their people, like everybody, all the good bands, if you think about it, had good sound. So we got hooked when we started really getting down. was EU sound man who brought the sound out. His name was Larry Adams.
Okay.
Because they had Ted too. So they was going back and forth between Ted and um, Larry Adams. So they had set up one system on one side of town, another so they don't have to break down. And they were trying to double gig. Whatever happened, we ended up getting. I don't know what happened between them, but we ended up getting Larry Adams. Remember that, Tills?
Yeah, yeah.
And when we got him, it was different. We played at the
You talking about
Moonlight.
heavyset, dark skinned Larry, right?
No, Larry Adams, the white dude that was
Oh, the white dude. But I remember another dude named
Indiana.
Larry used to work with us.
No, I'm talking about Larry Adams, the white dude
Okay.
from
Yeah.
Vienna that had them big joints.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That bring that, that bomb,
Yeah.
drop the bomb on them joints, man. That
Yeah.
dude, his system could handle it. And that when we got that though, when that started going on, man, we started cranking shows. I mean, I ain't trying to hype us, but I remember we played at Moonlight Inn, and Mo, I know you remember this. We was at Moonlight Inn, and we were playing first, and then EU was trying to punk us on the other side.
Yeah, they was way on the other end. Yeah.
Remember how Moonlight, not Moonlight Inn, that was Club LeBurn. My bad. I said Moonlight.
No, that was Moonlight Inn.
Was it Moonlight
Inn?
Inn?
Because it was very crowded that day. And it was a lot of people. We was sounding really, really good too.
Yeah,
I mean, we was at our peak. And then all of a sudden the crowd started running towards the other side because EU was started playing while we was doing our thing. They weren't supposed to do that.
Right. And then, but what ended up happening, we wouldn't stop. So they came back on our side because Larry turned that joint up some,
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, that's the story.
Yeah.
And so, we was battling out in that joint, man. And really on that night, EU just stopped playing and waited till we finished. They was salty with us, too.
Through that Groverton, Mount Vernon, Hayfield, all that down there. That Woodbridge, Dale City, y'all represent tonight, too. Yeah? Del Rey, all night Del Rey. All right, here we go. Y'all can get with this. What's up, Chris? Hey, Mr. Wiggles, Mr. Wiggle on down. Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggles, Mr. Wiggle on down. Y'all remember that joint? One more time. Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. One more time, Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Wiggle on down. They say we got to go. I'll say now, boom to the fat thing. The funky as he can be. What? I said, whoa. Watch out for that beat, Mr. Wiggles. Boom to the fat lady. Okay, as he can be. What y'all say? Watch out for that beat. Boom. Go ahead, Boom. Go ahead, turn them roll times up right there so Boom can get in there, man. Y'all ready to shoot them on out? You ready now to shoot them on out? Y'all remember the basketball? Y'all remember that joint? Basketball. I said the basketball. Let me go back to Boom one more time. Basketball. Let me go back to Boom one more time. One more time. I said now, boom with the fat lady. Okay,
as he can be. I said the whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch out for that beat. Boom, boom. I boom to the ballet, funky as he can be. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, hey. I threw that joint on 205, y'all. Shoot them on out, Pete. But that, those were some of those good times, man. In those
And now
early.
that you guys have brought up bands like that, let's talk the insertion of obviously management. Tell me about that. How'd that come about for you guys?
Well, I was in the back seats. I was the quietest dude in the band. I didn't know nothing about getting no jobs. I know Wood got us a lot of jobs by his people that he know, and his character was excellent with brothers and sisters, even the older generation. I knew that. I felt that because I didn't never have to worry about us getting no work. And every time I turn around, Wood say, "We got this next. We got that next." So, and I just stayed neutral because I'm learning and stuff. I'm just basically trying to focus on the music,
Yeah.
So Wood can give you the intel on that management thing because I don't have a clue.
Yeah. Well, how that all broke down, man. We was doing a gig down at Gum Spring,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to take in consideration. I'm the second oldest dude in the band, me and Chop. These dudes is all high school dudes or just getting out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt responsible. So not only am I managing, booking gigs, back then, remember we was doing flyers. We hand out flyers all over the place. We was just doing it.
Right.
But then I have to lead the band too. And we had a show with Junkyard Band. I'll never forget this at Gum Spring. And I can't remember the dude that was promoting the show. It wasn't even a lot of money. But at the end of the show, they got to fighting in there. So they ran out, police came in, whatever. So I go up to the dude, I said, hey, yeah, man, let's, settle up on the paper. And my man said, settle up on the paper? I said, yeah. He said, man, you ain't getting nothing. I said,
Oh,
ain't getting nothing. So that had never happened to us before. And then I said, no, man, no, we agreed upon, this amount. And then the dude rose up, now he a gorilla. So I'm looking behind me, and these dudes behind me, they picking up mic stands. Like, with the round bottoms on
yeah,
the
yeah,
joint.
yeah, yeah.
So the thing about me, man, I always, and Mo notice about me, it wasn't about the moment. It's about what's next for me. That's always the way it's been. Because I know if I mess this thing up right here, we'll never come back down here. And matter of fact, when I was booking gigs, they was telling us, any fights in there, y'all do anything, y'all never come here. So I had to think about that. So that's number one. Number two, I had to think about what if somebody get hurt? Because one of my dudes, I ain't gonna say his name, but that dude he was about to crack dude in his head, and I had to stand in front of him. So now there are people coming. So I go over to Pinky Slade. And I knew Pinky because Pinky had played in a band a long time ago, R&B band. And I said, hey, Pinky, hey, man, hey, can you watch our back tonight, man, while I get the stuff out of here? Because he's an older dude. He's older than us. And he said, yeah, I got you, man. So so afterwards, he was like, yeah, man, I'd like to talk to y'all about some stuff, man, maybe help y'all book some gigs, whatever. I said, yeah, cool, let's do that. So we brought Pinky in really for muscle in the beginning. That was the whole thing, was muscle. But, he was black belt in karate, so that's all I need to know. You go watch
Right,
our
right.
back. That at least that's what I thought. And little did I know though, man, he had started, you know, start to book gigs, and so it kind of maneuvered the way, we ain't signed no papers or nothing like that, but it was like he just started working. So I was like, cool, I can focus on music. I ain't got to worry about all of this. So I wasn't even tripping, and we wasn't making money like that anyway. Where I had to, we was like, tripping about money, but but that's how he got involved with the band, you know. And this
Okay.
we had already been playing probably about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years before he even, got with us. So
So so to keep it there, so when he got involved, did that elevate the status of shows and places you guys played?
yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, he did that. So Pinky's good. Like he know how to talk, man. He knows how to, he can, he's just good at it, man, And so yeah, so when he got so I was getting our gigs mostly in Virginia, but when Pinky came in, he was getting our gigs across the bridge. And
Mhm.
that helped us. So we started playing at the Howard Theater, and Pinky got us a bus. Remember, we had a bus.
Yeah.
We were riding around in a yellow bus with the Ovation signature thing on the back of it. And crazy stuff was happening in that bus, man.
Didn't he end up painting that bus blue?
I think it was blue and it still had some yellow in it. They never finished painting the bus. That
Yeah.
joke was unique, man. But yeah, so no, he we got to play at the Coliseum. All of that was him, man, booking those gigs.
You got to talk about that. So the Coliseum gig. Who was that? What bands were at that Coliseum gig?
Ooh, shoot, who
Just,
wasn't at that joint? Everybody, man. That Coliseum gig. We was I think we was either the first or the second band. They put us in there early.
yeah.
But Essence for sure was there.
Right.
Take Trouble, yeah.
So after some of those shows in the city, how was the response in your home base in Alexandria? Were they more hyped up that you guys were breaking those barriers back then?
That's a great question. What you think, Mo?
Man, I think the people from Alexandria and the Virginia area, they really respected us because we was playing with those big name cats. So when we used to come back to Gum Springs, we be hype and they be hype and they be looking forward to our show, man. But the letdown was sometimes Pinky didn't have the correct sound system. So because we packed the joint and then we don't have the right sound. They were like, something Ovation didn't sound good that day, man.
Yeah,
So that was that kind of downfall. We wasn't consistent on
that
the
was
sound, and that was blowing us.
that killed us. That really killed.
That really hurt. That really hurt us. That's
Yeah,
one time you hear us, we sounded excellent. Then one time you hear us, we sound bad, and
yeah.
that it was like it was not good, man. Not good at all.
Yeah, and then you would hear stuff like, "Well, it ain't all in the sound; it's in the music, it's in the back." So you would hear that, and it was almost like a way of kind of coercing you to think differently, which we already knew.
Yeah,
If you take a sound from any band that they used to, where they
yeah,
put
yeah.
effects in, I mean, especially nowadays, can you imagine Northeast Groovers without
Right, right,
Joe or whoever is running their sound now? There's no way they're not gonna sound the same.
right.
They pitching the congos, all the stuff, delays coming in at a certain time. Like the
Hmm.
sound man is the musician. He is the number one musician.
Well,
Right.
guess what? Guess what's the most important part of a go-go band sound system?
That's it.
The
Period.
most important part is the bass drum.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I would say bass drum and congas now. Well,
Yeah,
you know better than me on that, but yeah,
that bass drum, that foot had to be heard, and it had to be powerful. That
Well, I've
especially
foot,
talked.
that bass drum had to be there, and sometimes we didn't have it.
Well, I've
We did
talked to
not.
a lot of people, man, from that particular area, which we know is 15 minutes across the bridge. But you guys were really more than just a band to a lot of people. You were like their identity. You know what I mean? The Ovation to them was like their representative,
it's
man.
musical. And I'm gonna tell you something. The difference between Shady Groove and Ovation Band is this. Ovation Band may have felt like we had arrived. Shady Groove was hungry. And them dudes practice every day. When I tell you, I was like, when I got with the band, I was like, yeah, when is practice? Tomorrow. All right. Hey, when's the next practice? Tomorrow. Like they was like, and so when the record opportunity came up, so because we was actually, they came to me Shine, you probably know Shine, who at Full House Records.
Yeah.
CJ was working with them. Too Tall Steve from EU, and all of those guys. And I knew CJ. And CJ said, "Man, what's up with that band, Ovation Band? We looking for artists." He said,
Yeah.
"Man, I'm not with them no more." And when I told him, I said this band called Shady Groove. He said, "Shady what?" He started cracking jokes. And we went over there and sat up.
You heard.
It was on 14th Street, I think, is when
Yeah.
the record studio was over there. We sat up, man, and on our warm up, they stopped everything. Said, "Hey, Wood, come here." Pulled me back in the booth and said, "Hey, man, we want to sign y'all
Wow.
because y'all on something different." And so that was the Shady Groove thing. So real quick,
I mean, that's the general consensus. Like they felt like, okay, that's how Ayre Rayde was for us in PG County. It's almost like where they went, we went, and it was like us proving to the city guys that we were funky too. So like I said, I didn't know that Ovation was from Virginia when I saw, because they sound like
right,
I'm for real. Like I ain't know. I just saw two bands. Go when you're 13. You don't know about all those politics, man.
right.
You was enjoying the music. You know what I mean? So I thought it was just amazing, man. Because like that go was off the hook. I'm telling y'all was off the chain. You know what I'm saying? So tell us about some rivalry. Now, was there rivalry with Ayre Rayde or was no?
I don't really think so. I was just thinking that, I didn't get into none of that kind of stuff. I just wanted to sound good. And I was just a weird, quiet type of brother, man. I didn't care about who played the best and none of that. I just wanted to do our thing, and Wood got it to the point he got us really grooving. But like I said, sometimes that sound system, we be all hype, ready to go, and we get up to the gig. When we get to the gig and we see the sound system, we be like, "Oh my goodness, not again." We be kind of upset when we see those red bottoms. Because those red bottoms and the little speaker on top, we knew we weren't gonna have the right sound that we needed, and we was gonna struggle a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think the rivalry, I know for me and Mo, we was rivaling ourselves. Like we just wanted to get better. Like we wasn't, me and him never got into that. Like who's the best, but it was clear to me because of what he's saying. The sound was, you can't compete if you're on that level.
Right.
You want to compete. You can if you don't have the sound. I remember
Right.
playing with Ayre Rayde. I would say almost every band. So I'm gonna put it out there, man. You know me well enough to know I'm gonna be truthful.
Yeah.
I would say the only band that we played with, we can look at. So I remember we played with Essence. We used to open up for them at the Howard a lot. There was a season we was opening up, and I remember one time a lot of people thought, "Oh man, y'all got Essence tonight." They was going back across the bridge saying, "Man, y'all got Essence." But in my mind, I'm like, we ain't get no Essence. But that's what the people were saying, because I wasn't competing against Essence. That wasn't. I want us to get better. I remember I played with EU. That show that I was telling you about. People said we got them that night. It was different places we get almost everybody. The one band we never got. One band out of Maryland. And the reason that we didn't get them is I believe, well, number one, they was a great band. I mean, they just musicians from top to bottom, they just most of them dudes was more experienced than us anyway. So, but anybody can get knocked out one night, right? Somebody can get knocked out one night. They never got knocked out by us, and that was the Ayre Rayde.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ayre Rayde High School, are you ready? Here they are, Maryland's own red hot funk band, Ayre Rayde. All right now. How y'all doing tonight, y'all? Huh? I swear to goodness. Y'all come to boogie tonight, huh? Right over the big brother Tay, y'all. Say what? Good Tanya. What's your name, darling? Huh? Say what? Right up a sweet little red, y'all. I swear to goodness, y'all looking so good tonight. Ha ha. Woo! Hot nigga, the dog can do it now. Uh-huh. Now who do we have in the house tonight? We got the Sea Pleasant crew in the house tonight, y'all. Huh? Everybody from Sea Pleasant, raise your hands up in the air. All right now. Hey Mo, give me a little bit of money, big brother. All right now, do it. All right now. Everything say, big brother. Now where's everybody from the Capitol High School at, y'all? The Capitol High School, put your hands up in the air. Huh? All right. They all rolling, y'all. That's every time, Mo. Get it now.
Ayre Rayde, I felt like Ayre Rayde got us. You know what, Mo? I wasn't in the band at that time. Y'all might have got him that.
You talking about that when you got out of the band, we played with them again? Because I don't remember that. You talking about
played with them at Gum Spring.
Okay, yeah, I remember that Gum Spring show.
At Gum Spring show.
Okay.
I give credit where credit is due.
Right.
I give credit where credit is due. Y'all played with them at Gum Spring. That's when I was with Shady Groove.
Right. Okay, I remember. We had Amp on the bass.
Yeah, it had Amp on the bass, and I don't know who was doing. Y'all had the sound that night. I don't know whose sound.
Yeah, we had a real nice sound system that night. I remember.
That PA tape was crystal clear. One of the
Can I find that on YouTube?
I don't know who got it. I know Kale used to have them tapes. Mo.
Yeah, but Ron Boone got a lot too. I don't know what he got now.
How in the world did Elwood end up leaving Ovation? Come on, you gotta tell us what happened, man.
I really, it shocked me because I was like, like I said, I'm the quietest dude in the band. I wasn't no parts of that politics. I don't know what the world went down. I was like, wow. And I kept quiet. I just doing my thing. And in the meantime, I started drawing interest to learning jazz.
Yeah.
And doing more R&B because I had a funny feeling I was next. So, and then, as time went on, that little click with Amp on the bass and the change of Ovation didn't last too long because they started complaining because Pinky was still getting them red bottoms every now and then. Every now and then they get the good sound. Sometimes we couldn't afford it because we ain't never had our own sound system. He'd be renting and stuff. Yeah. So it kept going, like that back and forth. They still wasn't consistent. And then when we don't have the good sound system, some of the band members said Teels ain't kicking the bass drum hard enough.
Yeah.
And I was trying to explain to them, I don't play like that. You gotta let the system do it. So they kept plotting, and next thing you know, I was out of there.
Yeah. So the two founders, but I do think what happened though with us though, so what Pinky did was he had gotten some guys that he was connected with. Supposedly they had money. That was the thing. One of them, we know he owned a service station, and so I ain't gonna say names or nothing like
right,
that.
Right, no doubt, no need.
But so they had all this money. So little did they said we had a meeting. I'll never forget. We was at Chaps House. We had a meeting. They said, "Well, we about to change some things." So I'm sitting on the bottom. Now I'm the band leader. They talking about we gonna change things. And nobody talked to me, so I'm just sitting there listening, like what's going on. So they saying crazy stuff like, "Yeah, man, we might just set the whole stage up different." Mo, I don't know if you remember this. They said we might even have the drums instead of sitting in the center, we put them on the side and have the guitar and bass in the like just nonsense. I'm sitting up there trying to imagine this in my head, but I think what it was just a throw. They basically were saying, we about to do something different. So little did I know, I don't remember exactly how it happened. Oh, yeah, it was the same day. And they said something like, yeah, man, well, we're gonna bring in a new sound system, we're gonna do this, we're gonna run this like a business, everybody gonna start getting checks. Saying all this stuff, right? So, they was like, well, we decided, they said, we decided that we're gonna have to let you go. So I'm looking at all these mountains, right? I'm like, just one by one, everybody look, most everybody put their head down like this. Ain't want to look at me.
Right.
Except for one person in the band, I remember was like, he was doing like this. Nope. And that was Wiggles. I gotta give it to him. Wiggles was like, nah, man, I ain't with it. Cause Wiggles was loyal to me because he saw me when he was a real little boy. I played in his brother's band. So he was loyal to me. But so that was it. So I mean that joint hurt a little bit, it stung, but there was a part of it. Now this was during the time that Reds, this was right around the time that Reds, remember he was with Essence doing stuff with Essence,
Uh-huh.
and he started Reds and the Boys.
Right.
And I was like, man, maybe I should start a band called Wood and the Boys. You know what I mean? Like, and that didn't even sound right to me, Wood and the Boys. But what happened was I saw these youngins. So here's a quick story on this. We played a gig at the Boys and Girls Club, and we played with Shady Groove. And Shady Groove, honestly, man, was just they only had three major people in that band was the conga player, P Funk, Willie the drummer, Goodfoot Willie, and Smooth Man Tony on the front. That's all they needed. They just something about that band was just they could crank the place. But they didn't really have real music. They was just crank. And so I was friends with Paul Ward, P Funk, and he said, Wood, man, why don't you come down, man, and listen to us, man. So I came down, and they had a bass player named Randy Wilson. Remember Randy Wilson, Mo?
I
He was
never knew he was first bass player
he
for
was
them.
their bass player, yeah, yeah. And so, he, was kind of like out doing some different things. So I came in, and the first day I came in and played with them, I was like, oh my goodness. So that's Ovation Band missed out because of my connect with CJ. It was kind of unfortunate how it happened though, man, but um, it feel funny, man, because Ovation was our baby. Was Mo, me and Maurice, man, it was our baby. And then we got kicked out of the joint, and I'm doing something else. And then Mo pretty much is one of the top drummers in the DMV right now. That dude can't stop gigging. I'm telling him to
Well, you know
slow down.
what? You know what? What? No, I'm sorry. You know what? You actually did a great beat there because you took us somewhere else, which takes us where we want to go. So the two founders are no longer with the band. You saw us a segue between how that album got played with or made. Now here's the deal. So I'll go to you, Tills. Where'd you go from there? Because where'd you go from that segue from the band?
Started going down to Old Town Alexandria every weekend and listening to a jazz group called the Larry Seals Quartet.
Mm-hmm.
I started learning like I learned the drums in the beginning. I started studying this jazz drummer. They playing smooth jazz and straight ahead jazz because every time when I got out of the band and I started playing a lot of church gigs, all my style was around go-go. And I said to myself, I had to change this. So I joined an R&B band. It was two twins. They called themselves Two for One. And we started playing R&B music. And and I was implementing the jazz stuff that I was learning from going down Old Town every weekend. So that's what I was doing. I was focusing on a whole nother thing. I wasn't even playing go-go no more. I'm playing, but I had when after Two for One had kind of fell apart, I got with another dude named Bishop, and we started. Bishop plays guitar. We got some brothers together. We put together another R&B band, and since I knew go-go, it had like a go-go swing to it. And that band was called Foreplay. And we used to practice on Reed Avenue and Ayre Rayde. So I'm still playing R&B and never got back with another go-go band since. Never. And then I just did R&B for a long time with a little flavor, go-go flavor in it, mixed in here and there. And then, time went on, time went on. I think me and Bishop fell out one time because I didn't want to come to practice because they didn't have no new songs. I said, "Why I'm coming to practice? We gonna practice on the same stuff we already know. I ain't coming tonight." He ended up getting this white dude named Craig to take my place on drums. You remember Craig?
Yeah, Craig.
And then, and one day before Craig came and took my place, this guy named Tim Jones came to see me play with Foreplay. And Tim pulled me to the side and said, "Man, listen, man, I'm about to start a jazz band. I like your style. I think you'll fit in perfect." And they called that band Common Man. But they said the Common Man didn't work as the time went on. Then they changed it to Common Ground.
Yeah.
I've been with Common Ground ever since to this day.
If you had a microphone and you could talk to all of the genres, the various genres, what would you want your drum style to convey? Like, what's that message of your particular style to everybody as artists?
I would classify myself as a real smooth, supportive drummer because I like listening to the instruments that are around me. I'm not a real drummer that likes to do a whole bunch of licks and put a lot of spotlight on myself. And then the reason why I'm saying that, I'm just being honest. I'm self-taught, first of all. I don't even know my rudiments. A lot of people be saying you be doing rudiments, but I don't know if I be doing the rudiments or not. But so that's why I'm kind of like self-conscious to be real busy on the drums. So I classify myself as a smooth pocket drummer with a little jazz flavor and very supportive of the other musicians. I try to build up like playing jazz. I learned how to build what's one of the instruments is taking a solo. I know how to build that solo up by my drumming to hype it up,
Okay.
to start it off from low until he get to his peak of his solo. And I know how to hype that solo up. So I learned a lot over the years,
Okay, copy that. I'm gonna throw a couple of grenades at you, unexpected. Now, just give a impromptu response. Okay, I'm gonna name a couple of names, and when I say a name, tell me your thoughts on the person just there. So now, Sugarfoot Ricky.
Amazing, amazing speed, just amazing acrobatics of what he does around the kid. Incredible.
Okay.
But I don't play like him at all. But
No, just I want your thoughts.
I like his style though. I like his style, but he's totally different from me.
Will you want to give yours?
Oh, he said it, man. I mean, he may single-handedly be, if not one of the best, if not the best go-go drummer in terms of his technique in all of go-go in the history. But that's because that dude played with Miles Davis, he played with everybody. So
Gotcha.
he's a gift. Next one, I want to hear your next one.
Okay, my next one is gonna be I got Juju.
Juju reminds me of Sugarfoot Ricky. They're in that same class of styles. They almost just alike, so to speak. But I think Juju might be a little more busier when he in the kit, than Sugarfoot Ricky. But they like in the same, I respect both of them brothers. God. And when I'm looking at them, they know their rudiments. They are not self-taught. Somebody taught them. That's what I believe. But I'm self-taught,
What you got, Wood?
No, same. I think Rick. I give Rick a little bit more over Juju for what Teel said. Rick could, the thing about Sugarfoot Ricky is not fair. He could do with one hand what most people have to use two hands doing. His speed and his accuracy. If you ever, there's what's the one thing that Chuck did where he's, is it Run Joe where you hear this? You hearing that? He's doing that. He's doing that with one hand. Like I'm just saying, like it's unreal. So anyway, Juju though, I watched Juju just recently. I'm like, man, he's a killer though. I can't take nothing from him. And here's what I love about Juju. I said this the other day online. Juju's not beating the drums; he's playing it. So his finesse is really really nice and tight.
Okay.
He's playing in control. He used to be out of control though, but he's learned now.
Copy that. Now, I got Foots on the game. Foots.
Well, Foots that's my number one right there. Because the reason why I say Foots is not my number one, because he reminds me of myself. Foots was older than me, but I started copying what he does because it didn't look too hard. I couldn't do what Sugarfoots and Juju do, but I could do a lot of stuff that Foots did. So I started following him. You know what I'm saying? I still do some of his licks today. And that is no lie. On some of my jazz hits, I'm doing certain roles, and I got that from Foots. But I can't do some of that stuff Sugarfoot Ricky. I could do a beat that Sugarfoot Ricky do. I could do it now that all these years I went by. It's like rolling with the foot, the bass drum. I can do that now, but a long time ago I couldn't do that. But Foots is my number one, man, as far as style, and he was mellow with it, real quiet.
Yeah.
He had this look, and he really do a lot, but what he did excites me.
Yeah.
What you got, Wood?
Yeah, I mean, same. I think one of the things that I loved about Foots was a better drummer than people know because he only gave you what was needed for that genre. But I watched Foots do something. I remember we played with them down in Anacostia. And I don't know if you remember this, Teals, he had to open up the show before everybody, the rest of the band was coming in. It was during school time. So we opened up, and then I guess we finished too early or whatever. So it was just Foots and Godfather and I think Jungle Boogie was the only ones in there, and maybe somebody else. And that dude, man, his like the way he is. I mean, the dude. And then what I saw him doing, they was doing
Oh,
but the stuff he was doing in between, I was like, I didn't know he could play like that. I thought he was just a straightforward player, but he could do more. He just gave you enough to come back and see him again. That's how I felt about Foots. I love Foots playing.
copy that.
Feel
Okay,
the
I got
same
two
way.
more. Two more. And these are so like I hope you guys saw these guys. I mean, so how about Ghost from Petworth? You ever seen him play?
I don't remember seeing him. I might have
Okay.
seen him and it didn't strike me. But
Okay, copy.
I don't even remember him. But I remember sitting in for Petworth one day.
Okay.
They was on a gig with us, and then they had the monster sound system, and we had the red joints. And the band members, I thought, and Petworth played first. They convinced me to help him out because the drummer was late or he couldn't
Uh,
make it. I don't know who that was. I just did it. I ain't even asked for no money. I don't know why. And
okay.
then
Copy.
when I got to the other side with Ovation, and we played, and the brothers was mad at me because we didn't crank like them. But I was trying to explain to them, man, look at the sound system.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they were saying that Tills was tired because I cranked so hard with Petworth. Then I come and play with my band, Ovation. They said I was tired, but it was the sound.
Yeah, I follow you, man.
You
I
remember
follow
that?
you.
Yeah,
You were there?
y'all
You
was
were
on me
there?
hard. Y'all
Yeah,
said
yeah,
Till.
yeah. I remember that.
You said Tills ran out of gas.
I remember that.
Was
Yeah.
John Cavalier there with them that night?
I'm trying to think. He might have been. That was so long ago,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that was before Petworth, the album. That was before they came out with that album.
Okay, copy that.
Or Full House, yeah.
Because Ghost was there with the albums. Let me ask you this. Lastly, how about Doc Spencer? What kind of drummer was he?
Who's that?
Doc Spencer.
Oh, Doc. I'm gonna let Mo you
Eric,
go first.
drummer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was funky.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what I think about Doc. For me personally, what I loved about Doc over every drummer was his change ups.
Okay.
That dude to be in one thing, it's like he just changed up and it seemed like he didn't miss anything. He would just change from one thing to the next. And he was, to me, very skilled, but I think because there was so many good drummers out there, he was underrated as a drummer. But man, don't get it twisted. He was one of my favorite. Even to this day, I listen to old, Ayre Rayde stuff simply because of him. Here's the thing about Doc. Doc was good with whatever Congo player. That's unusual. He
Okay.
had 3 Congo players that he played with, and he sound good with every one of them. He made them sound good. Man, me and Doc be going, we battle, we go at each other having fun. But man, I gotta give credit where credit due, man. Doc, for his time, for that season, that man was the man. Full of confidence, man, and his style was unique. That's another thing I loved about him. He wasn't like anybody else to me.
Yeah,
You know?
he had his own character, definitely.
Yeah.
All them drummers had their own character. Footsville had his own character. Juju and Sugarfoot Ricky, they wasn't exactly the same. You could tell the difference, but they was close, And Doc didn't sound like nobody to me.
He did.
I follow you. Now I'm not gonna put.
I think a lot of people would probably say Till sound like Foots.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't say that about Sugarfoot Ricky. They don't sound like they say they're the class by themselves. But I didn't get mad at people saying something like that because I'll tell them, yeah, I stole a lot of stuff from them, and I ain't mad about it. I just put it in what I knew.
Okay,
but I gave the props. I said if I sound like him, I mean, I'm not mad about that. I'm praising the brother. He sound good.
I'll put a little gas on something in front of Wood since we got him in here. Phil and I were talking. With him, tell you something, man. You know, we really are in wishes. We're in wishes. Now, I'm the one put Ayre Rayde in there. I want to see y'all play one more time, man. We got to do something in the future. I mean, I love to see Ovation Ayre Rayde just one more time for us, man.
Yeah,
That's just,
you're trying to start something because
I don't mean compare. I mean, I just love the bands. You know what I mean?
I know, but because me and Doc, I think you was on that time. Me and Doc,
Oh, I was there. I was there. Yeah, I was there.
yeah, when he was talking all that smack,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Doc, that was back then. This is a different day. Hey,
That's
look, I said, hey, my man's still current.
yeah. But
My
that's why,
man play
guys.
every week.
So Doc not playing no more Wood?
No, I don't think he's playing anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think but I don't. I mean, because they got good guys that'll fill in and stuff. Cloudy and them will play. The point is, in any Ovation, I hope what we're doing will bring the Ovation guys back and say, let's do one more time. And hopefully, Ayre Rayde, because I'm doing them at the same. Isn't it ironic, man? When we're talking, Ed just hit me. Eddie's coming. Like
Oh, my man.
the two catalogs I'm doing, man, were mean a lot to me. Ovation and Ayre Rayde, they mean a lot to me, man. So I'm saying, trust me. I don't know. Maybe it's the energy. Maybe when all this is done, all these banners talk, we may get you guys in one place for a big time reunion. That would be
Yeah.
out of sight, man.
I
Well,
never had beef with bands ever.
I cannot see that happening without Mr. Wood Jones. So if he got the time, which
Yeah,
it probably don't, it's going to be very hard for him to, dedicate some time. But I don't think we're gonna have a problem getting the brothers together. We can get the brothers together.
gotta have Wood, man.
Jeff lives out of town, but when it's time to hit, Jeff probably can come and hit one rehearsal with us before we hit. But Big Bill, we can get Larry, we can get Lonnie, myself, we can get Wiggles, we can get Tricky Rick, and that's it. And
The
Wood,
guy
that,
Plukey's around.
well, Plugi, he'll ease up in there one day too, and once we
Yeah.
can get some contact information. But the whole thing in a nutshell is relied on Mr. Jones. Wood gotta be wanting to do it. If he
We
can't
want
do
him.
it,
We want him. We want him.
but it's up to him. We
Yeah,
can't do it
take it.
without him.
Take
He's
time,
got
Wood. Don't answer today, Wood, because I don't want to know right
we
now.
we
So
can't we can't
yeah,
we can't put that together without him. It's
yeah.
just not going to be right. I can't imagine having another bass player but him.
Oh man,
And then seeing his face being there
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
one more time around.
was moving like a